Hello, this is Dr. Vision, and today I'm making this video to explain in more depth about my issues with the TARDIS materialisation effect in the new series, plural series, because it's been going on for a while now. It's hard to explain it to someone without, I'm not saying to the layman's eyes that it's not perceivable, but if you have a certain eye for visual effects or editing or something, it's easier to spot, and it's something I spotted straight away when it started declining. You can see it in the. That's one of the primary reasons why I put the TARDIS materialisation compilation together, because it shows how it evolves over the 13 years of the new series, of the revival, and it has gradually gone down in quality, but it has changed. So the first thing I want to talk about is the most obvious thing about what has changed is the lights flashing, which it doesn't anymore, or very sporadically, to be honest, because I think it affects the effects. If the light doesn't flash and it just fades in, it makes the effect look cheap, I think is the way to say it. Series 1 to 4, it was just, or actually series 1 to 5, it was more or less consistent in every episode. So series 1, it was quite impressive, but they had more of an emphasis on the light flashing really brightly. This is noticed in a few episodes. I don't think it's the first episode. I think by the time we get to finale, it's flashing really brightly. Yeah, especially when Rose has she's opened heart of the TARDIS and it takes off with her in, and it's really, really bright. And that's nice, it's spectacular. But the actual transition effects, it's just regular. So it's just a slow fade in or a slow fade out. But the problem is you don't really notice that. You don't notice it because the light's flashing and that's taking your attention. So you see it as spectacular in many ways. And then series 2 and 3, I think they changed the effect. It was less brighter. Sometimes it was a bluer colour or white. It didn't change that much. It wasn't spectacular, but it was consistent. It faded in slowly or faded out slowly, and the light flashed and wind blew and everything, and it just looked nice. And I know it's not that important to people because, well, I know the story has to be good, the writing, the characters, all much more important than this, but it just takes away a little bit of the awe and the fascination and the epicness, really, in the programme, because, I don't know, I've always, those moments, like, we used to get them occasionally in the David Tennant era, when the TARDIS would materialise and it gave you chills. It was the most epic thing you'd ever seen, basically. Like, they did it a lot in series 4 and 5's Pompeii, when he went back to save Caecilius / the 12th Doctor, Buchanan, and Journey's End, where they all thought the TARDIS had perished, and then it just landed. It just appeared from nowhere with this spectacular bright light, and it just looked amazing. Now they're one-offs, which is fine, but it just emphasises how spectacular and how awe-inspiring the TARDIS can be if they put the effort in. and it's nice. I like it, but I mean, I'll move on now. Basically, so series 4, what I was saying. Again, it just upped the level a bit, because you notice in some of the materializations or dematerializations, they put a bit of an effect on it, like it was some sort of layers, a 3D effect. Not all the time, but you noticed it, especially in Journey's End when they were landing on and taking off from Bad Wolf Bay. You'd see the light flash, and then basically this sort of what's the word? Shroud. Something came down first, and then the box came into view, basically. So it was like a layer. You saw it materialise down before the TARDIS did, and it made, it's like the mill really put some effort into that end of things. I mean, the effects brilliant the rest of the series, but they put equal effort into just making the TARDIS materialise, and that should just be a simple 5-minute fade in, fade out job, I suppose. And well, that's what they're doing now, but back then, the title seekers, they were top notch on everything. They put effort into all the effects of Doctor Who, assuming they did do it. I don't know, to be honest. And then series 5, it carried on. The light flashed brightly again. There was layers as it came down. Although this point, I've noticed, is where it started to change or decline. Not completely though. First notice, this is where the inconsistencies came in. So it was perfect throughout the whole of series 5, and then you get to episode 11, The Lodger. And this is the first instance of this, I'll not call it the Capaldi effect, but it sort of foreshadowed. This was the first example of what we came to expect on a regular basis in the rest of the series. So basically, unlike the rest of the time where we don't always get the layer, but it fades in and you get the bright light as it fades in. But this is the first example where the light didn't flash at all, and it was just noticeable, just stuck out like a sore thumb. And they started changing the sort of way it transitioned in. It's the way I see it, the way it best looks editing wise when you fade the TARDIS in is where you fade it, it comes in gradually and slowly, or goes out gradually and slowly, and it's not just this example, and this is the one they carried on with. Basically, they do it quickly, so they fade it in quite a lot, and then they fade it almost right out, so it's not consistent. So it fades right in, and then it fades right out again, and it just looks messy. But it shouldn't do that. It should fade in slowly, I think, because that's what they even did in the classic series, from what I can perceive. And it's hard to describe, but it just doesn't look right. I mean, you'll see in the examples here I'm showing you, but yeah, so basically, and then it disappeared again. Next episode we had a couple of transitions, materialisation. They had the light back on and everything, so you think, what was that all about? Did someone just have a lazy day when they were editing it or something? Series 6 is then so I get to series 6 and the effect changed again. It was still fine, but this is where they tended to phase out the flashing of the lamp. So it didn't flash anymore, but it was still on. It was basically the lamp was always on when it landed or took off. But what it did, it kind of glowed slowly. So when it faded out or faded in, it glowed slowly, and it didn't flash. It just glowed slowly, and the effect wasn't bad, but it was getting worse, basically. So it still looked alright, at least looking in hindsight it did. And that was, so they didn't completely phase that out, and I noticed looking at Series 7 in Hyde, they, you know, just randomly then applied, you could see the sort of 3D layers again effect for TARDIS. But again, the light glowed and it looked okay, but it's this fade in and out which is inconsistent, and it started to really show by this point. It just doesn't work. And then you get to Series 8 and Series 9, Series 10, which is basically consistent throughout the whole Capaldi era. The light lamp, it just didn't flash at all. I mean, it probably was on sometimes, but it never flashed when it landed. It was like it's like he'd replaced it with a static lamp. That must be the explanation for it. It's one of these ones that can flash animatedly or whatever. So it just, and the fade was just getting worse by this point. It was like that fade in the Lodger, so it just faded inconsistently. So it faded in quite a lot, then faded almost out again, rather than the gradual fade we came to expect. And it looked like someone really amateur had done it. And I know, like I say, I know it's not important to most people because it's just a 5-second effect and move on, basically. But you know, they've done it before, so why can't you do it now? Why can't you just keep that going? I know Doctor Who's all about change, but it wouldn't take a lot, you know. So they should have done that. It did look very movie maker. That's what I've named it. It's very basic. I know it's moved from the sort of old days of, take a picture. Oh no, sorry. Film the TARDIS when it isn't there, and then lock the camera, and then put the TARDIS in and mash the two together. And yeah, it used to show up on the old series because yes, that tree suddenly moved irregularly in the background or something, and you'd know it's just been mashed together. And they don't do that anymore, even with this crappy effect. But you know, you've got all these effects companies bringing these glorious effects to Doctor Who and monsters and all this special effects, yet they can't do that right. They just stick a really rubbish effect on it, and it just annoys me. Because why would you invest all these lovely effects in Doctor Who and then just fade it in like that? It just doesn't make sense to me. Because even they have the budget now. It's not Hollywood budget, but it's more than they used to have when they had wobbly walls or whatever people complained about in the 80s. No offence to classic Who fans. And then, now we're at the point, Series 11, which I'm not going to go into because it really hasn't been well received. But this video is not about that. So, Series 11, one good thing, we got the time vortex back with the TARDIS flying through it, which is very impressive, I must say, definitely. But again, you know, I thought they might, you know, upgrade the effect a bit back to what it used to be like, but again, it's just inconsistent. The odd episode might have a sort of better fade, and I thought, you know, the light kind of half flashes when it wants to, but it's just not. We got a really new and really good visual effects company on it now, and it's just the same. They obviously just are complacent about it or passive. There's no need to change it. But again, it's just that effect. If they just changed it, if they just regulated it to fade in slowly or fade out slowly. I mean, they don't have to add the light if they don't want to, but the light flashing, but it just looks painful. It half fades in, half fades out. It's just really cheaply looking. So yeah, I don't think we'll ever get it back. We might one day, but you know, it just adds to the spectacularness of it for me. I just like it. People will disagree with me, but being an editor, it stands out to me. Like the title sequence, like when they used to have Capaldi's out of sync all the time, and it's just looked appalling, and there was no need for it. Yes, casual viewers look over that, but I don't, and people in a similar sort of occupation to me wouldn't either. So it's just important to us basically when we notice things like this. So yes, that's my 15-minute rant over. I hope you now have a better understanding of what I mean by this gradual, I won't say evolution because it's a decline more or less, but I hope you understand now what I've been going on about for the last few years, and it should hopefully now improve on that video uploaded the other day that I originally made that good three or four years ago now, so it didn't have the best examples in it, but there'll be better examples in this video. So thank you very much for listening to this. I hope it was helpful and it's clarified exactly what I mean, and I hope you like this video. Comment on it if you agree, or if you still have any further questions, then comment and I'll try and answer them. Please keep watching, liking and subscribing, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Thank you for watching.